Welcome to the People's Court Reaction and Breakdown Show, where I break down everything from movies, TV shows, music, and more. My name is Mark, and I'm your host for today. Let's begin the show.
Yo, what up, what up? It's another episode of the People's Court Breakdown and Reaction Show. Going solo today. My boy Joe is on vacation, but we'll be back tomorrow with what we doing, man? Best of 2000s R&B, I believe. Yeah. So Joe and I will be back tomorrow. Today it's a solo run, just me. I'm here to talk about Spider-Man, brand new day. For those who haven't seen it, I don't know. I mean, you should just turn this shit off right now because it's no spoiler free. I'm just giving out all the details. I'm giving out all the, what they say. What the young kids say. We are giving out all the tea, whatever. I'm telling everything. So if you haven't seen the movie, no need for you to watch this show because I'm telling you everything. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, if you haven't seen it, I'm about to just charge you what, $22.50? That's how much it costs to get into the movies now. So that way you ain't got to pay. You just pay me the $22.50. Matter of fact, I give you a discount, half off, $11. You know what I'm saying? Then you can, you ain't got to go to the movies and shit. We had a special guest on today, but my man's a pilot, so there's a lot of rain and everything on the East Coast, so he wasn't able to make it. Flight is delayed, so trust me, I understand that. So I'm riding solo dolo today. So at the bottom of the screen, you will see like some questions that was pretty much for him. I'm still going to post it and just answer it myself, or maybe, if you want to, you can answer it at home, or you can get into the chat and you can answer it as well, however you want to do it, But so I didn't want y'all to see any questions at the bottom, like, yo, why is this dude just talking to himself? Like, but that was why I have the questions, because I had a guest coming on. So I'm still going to post the questions anyway and just answer them myself, and interact more with the crowd, and maybe y'all can, the viewers, and y'all can answer them as well. All right, so Spider-Man, brand new day. This is number 4 for Tom Holland. I guess the debate is still going on, who's the better Spider-Man, him, Tobey, or Andrew. I will always say it's Tom. Simply for me, because growing up, you view Spider-Man more as a kid. So Tom gave more of that kid vibe for me. Tobey, at that time, they still were young, but I don't know. Tom just it was more humor. Tom just gave off a great performance. This movie here was, this movie was not what I expected. And I mean that in a very good way. Like I said, by the time you get to like the 4th movie in the franchise, shit begins to trail off a little bit. This one is just up the ante even more. So I was shocked. And what I love most about it also is that, lately with the Spider-Man movies, especially the last one, you get a lot of guests. And I was shocked at some of the MCU characters that showed up. One in particular really did shock me. I wasn't shocked to see the Hulk, because Hulk is just he's like fabulous on a track. Like if you need a dope verse or something, special guest you bring in, you call in Fabulous. That's what the Hulk is now to the MCU. Like you need a good sidekick, whatever, to get that movie rolling, you call in the Hulk. Man, we had the Punisher be like the Punisher. Like, that was one team up or pairing that, how can I say this, that we needed but didn't know we needed it, but didn't know we needed it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? The Punisher and Spider-Man, they already they are better than Bucky and Cap. They are better than Rhodey and Iron Man. Like them two together. And for one, like if you came up, all right, let's just talk about the MCU. If you came up watching the MCU, Punisher was first introduced in I think Daredevil, I think the 2nd season, I believe. It was more grimy. It was more straightforward shit. I'm about to kill this person, I'm about to do this. And then he came back with his own show. It wasn't too much comedy involved. So to see him in this in this essence with Spider-Man, it was funny as hell. I cannot, when I say he murdered this role, he murdered this role literally. It's still the Punisher though, but him and Spider-Man together on screen was pure MCU gold. Oh, okay, and Sony, we got to give Sony some props as well, since they own Spider-Man. We got to give them a little bit of love too. So like, all right, well, I would say like this right here, like, if you're just looking at this picture right here, you would think, I'm saying, it doesn't look right. You got, I'm saying, you got the Punisher with a fucking machine gun, and you got Spider-Man. What the hell he's doing? However, just the backstory of this pairing is funny as hell. The running joke in this movie was Spider-Man supposedly saved Frank's life at Staten Island. Throughout the whole movie, the reference between them two was Staten Island. Remember Staten Island. Now, mind you, don't none of us know what the hell happened on Staten Island. I mean, because they have never paired up in any movie. They have never paired up in any TV show. So this Staten Island joke, this running joke for, 2.5 hours had everybody on the internet asking what the hell happened in Staten Island. Me, personally, at some point, they got to let us know what happened on Staten Island. We have to know, we have to know what the hell happened on Staten Island. And I wrote an article, and I'm like, the only thing that I can see happening is that Daredevil, Born Again season 3 is like I don't know, maybe we get a flashback. And the reason why I say Daredevil, the reason I say Daredevil Born Again is because of the MCU, because of the connection in Daredevil. All right, for one, you got Frank, the Punisher. He's a Daredevil vet. We had now there was a scene where Spider-Man got shot and Spider-Man went to the hospital. Daredevil took him to the hospital. They cut a scene with Claire, Rosario Dawson, who plays Claire, the night nurse on Daredevil. She supposedly, kept Spider-Man's identity a secret while he was in the hospital, but they cut that scene. Rosario says she shot the scene, but somehow Marvel did not put it into the movie. That's another Daredevil connection. Anybody remember Daredevil? That it was Claire who helped Matt Murdock out. So that's another Daredevil connection. Another Daredevil connection was Spider-Man got the key to the city. It was the mayor who gave him the key to the city. That mayor came from Daredevil Born Again season 2. Well, actually, at the end of season 2, Wilson Fisk is no longer the mayor. So the lady, I forgot her name, she gets handed the mayor. She becomes the mayor, but she was the mayor in Spider-Man. That's another Daredevil connection. So far, we got 3 Daredevil connections here. And connection number 4, remember, it was Matt Murdock was in Spider-Man No Way Home. Remember, he was the lawyer for Peter Parker. So that's 4 Daredevil connections that we have regarding Spider-Man and Frank, aka the Punisher. So, I would love to see Spider-Man make an appearance on Daredevil. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think Sony will allow that, because for them, I guess there's no money involved because it's Netflix. Like, I don't know how that will work. But somehow, some way, they have to let us know what the hell happened on Staten Island, because Spider-Man saved Frank's life, and Spider-Man would not let Frank forget that shit. So that that was funny throughout the whole movie, though. But having Daredevil on a movie, man, it was pure gold, especially at the end. Like I said, I'm going to ruin a lot of shit for anybody who have not seen it. But there was the moment, Spider-Man was shot. He was in the hospital, and Daredevil was. As Spider-Man says, he was crying. I don't know if Frank was crying or not, but according to Peter, Frank was crying. So I'm saying, like you say, you never had a friend like me. So once again, you never hear Frank mention anything about friends. So the fact that he looks after Spider-Man like the way that he does, that's dope. That's dope in itself. But then the funny part was when Spider-Man had to get out the hospital, and the Punisher put on, his mask so he can get out. He was in the window making all of those stupid noises and shit. That was funny as hell. Okay, Nikki said she loved their chemistry, and yes, he was. I don't know. I got to go back and watch that part. So Frank was actually crying. Well, also remember that Frank is the one who shot him. I mean, it was by accident, but but still to see the Punisher cry, okay, that was like that was okay. I gotta go back and check that one out. Punisher was crying like a little punk, but no, their chemistry was off the chain. I ain't gonna front, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, like they had some of the best on screen chemistry that Marvel has ever put on the big screen. So all right, so like I said, I had a guess, so I had a couple of questions that I wanted to ask, and we're gonna start off with. Oh well, all right, start off with that. What's your thoughts on the Hulk? One, I'm happy as hell. Not that the Hulk was in the movie. I'm happy that we actually got the real Hulk. Like, I was so tired of Smart Hulk. I was so tired of watching. I'm not gonna call him by his actor name. I'm so tired of watching Banner, Bruce Banner. Like, I wanted to see the Hulk, like from the first Avengers movie. I wanted that Hulk, and we finally got that version of the Hulk at the end. I would say his chemistry with Peter was 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 a little bit funny. They had a great fight. Yes, the Hulk and Spider-Man had a great on-screen fight. They was fucking getting at it though. But once again, I think when the Hulk was changing, Peter Spider-Man was like, "Hey, I didn't know you can get that big." Like, but once again, the last couple of movies, we have not seen the true version of the Hulk. He's been dumbed down a little bit. After Thanos whooped his ass in Infinity War, like literally whooped his ass. We've been getting a dumbed down version of the Hulk. I'm not calling Hulk stupid or anything of that nature, but we have not gotten the version of the Hulk that we know. So to see him come back in Brand New Day, that was oh my god, that was fucking awesome. Of course you could say you missed the Hulk. How can you not miss the Hulk? You know what I'm saying? Hulk smash, yeah, that version was fire. I'm going to say this. He beat the shit out of Spider-Man, like no doubt about it. Ain't too many people that can go toe to toe with the Hulk, except for maybe Thanos with some damn power gems. But at the end of the day, he did beat the shit out of Peter. Peter had to use his brain more than muscle, but ain't too many people out here beating our Hulk. And Frank, the Punisher, he was just smart all around. They was trying to devise a plan to take everything out at the same time. The late young lady, I ain't gonna say her name yet, young lady in the Hulk. And Punisher was like, "Yo, okay, I'll do this." And Peter was like, "Oh, you just doing it so you can avoid the Hulk." Like, you got that right. I'm trying to avoid that green monster. So once again, like I said, their chemistry was dope. So all three of them on the screen together was fire. To begin with. All right, so that was my thoughts on the Hulk. And as Nikki said, she liked the Hulk as well in the movie. All right, so my next one was, I'm going to skip down. This is something that I was worried about. All right, so as the movie started, you remember what was it? No Way Home. No Way Home ended with Ned and MJ, and I guess all three of them pretty much on their way to college. This movie started off with them about to graduate, so we skipped 4 years. And I asked, why did the writer skip the college year? Oh damn, I spelled college wrong. Oh shit, my bad. Y'all be all right. Y'all live. I asked that because for me growing up, we had a cartoon called Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends that took place with them in college. I always get her name wrong. Was it Firestorm or Firestarter? Which one was it? I can't remember. Maybe somebody in the comments could tell me. But Angelica, and then you had Iceman. But we probably would never get that because that took place during their college years. Like, they had an apartment and they had an apartment in the whole nine. So we probably would never get that. But I was wondering why they skipped all 4 years of college. So they went from high school and we lost 4 years of them, of them in college. And I wonder why. I guess time jumps is what it is. They got to stay within the MCU timeline. But I really think they could have found a way to figure that shit out. They all wanted to go to MIT. And only Peter got in. I mean, not only Peter, but Ned and MJ got in because what Peter did in No Way Home. But we missed a good portion of their life. So that means the movie starts off with Peter and them not seeing not really. Well, I'm gonna say not seeing each other, but no real interaction for 4 years. 4 years we missed. And I was just wondering why the writer skipped those years when we could have saw, I don't know. I want to see Iceman and them so bad. That's why I'm just so mad at it. All right. So now that we talked about that, now remember what happened at the end of No Way Home. Actually in the beginning too. Doctor Strange cast a spell that made everybody forget that Peter Parker exists. So in this movie, even though we skipped 4 years, so in 4 years, why did Peter never go back to Doctor Strange and say, "Yo, can you reverse this spell? Like, I miss my friends. Can you please reverse the spell? Like MJ, that's my love. Ned, that's my boy. Can you reverse the spell back to where maybe they can remember me?" Because remember, in the beginning of I keep saying Far Away From Home. In the beginning of No Way Home, Doctor Strange was casting a first spell. Then Peter kept fucking it up. He kept saying, "Oh no, I don't want Ned to forget me. Oh no, I don't want MJ to forget me. I don't want these people to forget me." So Doctor Strange had the ability to make sure that certain people could not forget him. Because remember, Strange was going to do that spell, but Peter just kept interfering. He fucked it up. So I seen a lot of blogs, a lot of groups. They was like, well, he couldn't go back to Doctor Strange because Doctor Strange did not know him. Okay, her name was Firestar. Thank you. Thanks, Nick. They saying Doctor Strange would not know him. Okay, cool. Here's my theory in that. Maybe Doctor Strange did not know him, but you really want me to believe that Peter could not make Doctor Strange remember who he was? Like, first of all, you know where I live at, kid. Secondly, you know I'm some grand sorcerer. Thirdly, you're telling me something that I know I possibly could have done with my magic. And fourth, I'm pretty sure Peter will start naming off all the fucking Avengers and all the shit they've been through fighting Thanos. At that point, Strange will have to know that he's telling the truth. So the fact that he didn't go to Strange to help him with that memory shit, I don't know. I'm saying I don't know if that was a writer's block or, like, to me, that would have worked. I think him going to Strange would have worked. I don't know why the writers did not let him go to Strange, but I guess it makes the story even much better, as we'll talk about it more going forward. But for Peter, that's why I would have went first before I went to Hulk. Before I went to Banner. I would have went to Strange first to see if he could indeed change that spell. That's all. I was just a little messed up off of that one right there. I'm like, yo, why the hell didn't he just go right there? That made no sense to me. You know what I'm saying? What do we got? It was, All right, we got Hulk. All right, so there is a big, I won't say a big, okay, yeah, there's a big argument for a lot of the moviegoers here. The VMAX reveal. When the movie first started, it was like, hey, we're looking for VMAX. We're looking for VMAX. Myself included, even people in the theater I was with. I know they was thinking, okay, who's this? Who's this character? It's either a character or a weapon or something. But I remember the young lady, once again, not saying her name yet. I remember the young lady saying, where is she? So we thought that VMAX was a character. Like, I'm saying, someone she's trying to say, we just knew she was a character. So when it was revealed that VMAX was the name of the company for a fucking air conditioning unit, to this day, I don't know why people are mad. They're like, oh, that was just dumb. I mean, think about it. Was it really dumb? Like, was it really dumb? So DODC had this young lady's sister holed up somewhere, and she used some powers to let her sister know about VMAX. Once again, her sister did not know what the fuck VMAX was. She just heard the name. That's all she heard. That's all she was going on was VMAX. We would later find out what VMAX was. I'm not with those other people saying it was a stupid plot in the movie, because when you sit and think about it, you realize how important that VMAX was. You know what I mean? So I'm not understanding that. Nikki said it worked, it made sense. The reason I say it's important, and I don't agree with a lot of people online saying how stupid it was. Granted, you were looking for a person, we were expecting a person. Okay, I think the majority are just mad because you got food. You like to go into a movie thinking you figured everything the fuck out. Being so you could not figure this out, it pissed you off. So now, now it's stupid. No, it was not stupid. The young lady, before she died, she saw VMAX. The reason it was very important for the plot of the movie was before the young lady, I don't know, I won't say she passed away, but before she was about to pass away. Remember, they had her in this room where her powers could not escape this room. So her powers were just trapped in that room. Like Nikki said, your sister had to be strategic to let her know. Exactly. Her powers were trapped. Her powers could not go past that barrier. So when she looked up and saw VMAX in the vent, that was the way to get her powers out. It was to use the vent. Now, when her sister first saw it, only thing we could take from is that she was dying. So her powers were not as strong as they were. She was dying. So maybe she could not teleport her powers through that vent. But she would let her sister know if something were to go down and you end up here, this is how you do it. But she just wasn't strong enough. Now, as we saw her being tortured or whatever, we heard them outside say that, hey, she's much stronger than her sister. To let you know right there what her powers were capable of. But the only problem was she had no way of getting the powers outside that room. So when she saw that vent that said VMAX, it clicked. We never saw her use her powers through the vent, but it made sense. After she saw the VMAX, the camera panned out to the control room, and next thing you know, she controlled somebody in the control room. So you just put two and two together. It's not fucking rocket science. She used the vent to teleport her powers through the vent into the control room, and that's how she ended up taking control of the control room. That's why VMAX was so important in the plot. It was the vent that she used to get her powers out of that room. That's why it was important. So it wasn't just it was some whack reveal. It was probably the most important reveal of the fucking movie. But y'all just mad because MCU hit y'all with a surprise and y'all didn't see it coming. So y'all was butthurt and shit. But that's why VMAX was, VMAX was so important. So what we're going to do now is, I guess it's just time right now to introduce the mystery character. Jean Grey. Like I said, throughout the latest MCU movies, like we have seen a couple of X-Men. We've seen Xavier. Of course, we've seen Wolverine, and we know that Marvel now has their rights. So eventually, we're going to see more and more of the mutants. But this is, and I could be wrong. So pardon me if I am wrong. This was our real first introduction who had a real big part in the MCU movie, which was Jean. So I ain't gonna lie, even in the beginning, I had no idea that it was Jean Grey. I did not know they was going to introduce her like that. I had no idea, but I loved how they did it, how the reveal was when they looked her name up and found out, it was Jean Grey. And I love that it's a younger version of Jean Grey. For the last couple of for the last decade, we've been watching like mad, X-Men movies by Fox at the time. The characters were getting old, and so now I guess we're getting a younger version of the X-Men. So to see Jean Grey in that stage was dope. And of course, the talk now is that she's a villain. Like it depends how you put that. Like she's looking for a sister. And yes, she was doing some unorthodox shit, no doubt about it. But if you remember anything about Jean Grey, even comic-wise, even movie-wise, Jean Grey has to be the most powerful fucking mutant there is, because she will later turn into the Phoenix. So we know what she's capable of. Remember in the first X-Men movie, she killed every fucking body. She killed all the fucking X-Men. She just demolished their ass. So we know how powerful Jean is. So to see Jean right now in this state, it should not shock anybody. We know what she's capable of. And right now she's hurting. Her sister is dead. Well, at the time she didn't know she's dead, but she's searching for her sister, and here comes Spider-Man in the way. Like, what else is she supposed to do? But for me, her character was so essential to this movie and moving forward that I ain't gonna say you forgot she's a villain, because to me she wasn't really a fucking villain. Like, she was just misunderstood on a mission, but she wasn't a villain. And I say that to say, because she offered me two of the best scenes that I've seen in that movie. It all had to do with her. The first scene, and I have to put the picture up right here. All right, cool. I seen the movie a couple of days ago, and I don't give a fuck. This shit right here still hurt. Like, all right. So according to the beginning of the movie, Jean had a radius of, what was it, 30, I think 33 feet or 38 feet where her powers can, are effective. At what point did she get to MJ? That part I cannot recall. Ain't like I'm in the movie theater, I could be like, yo, can y'all rewind that shit? So I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just going off what I just saw firsthand. And I do not recall a point where she actually had a chance to get to MJ, but somehow she did. And this whole scene right here, I felt so bad for that nigga Peter Parker. Like, I felt so bad for dude. Mind you, that's a girl that he cast a spell and she forgot about him for 4 years, yo. They was tight throughout the other movies, that was the love of his life, whatever. So imagine that. You're already dealing with that shit. Like, you gotta watch her. Then you watch her in the house kissing another dude. So you already know your old girl done moved on. She don't remember who the fuck you are. And then this shit happens. They swinging through the city, blah, 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 blah. They land on a rooftop. And then she's coming at Peter like, yo, I think I know you. I think I remember you. Blah, blah, blah. I think she was talking about, the shit from Washington, D.C. She was just giving him all the hints of that, like, yo, I know who you are. I remember you now. So Peter's believing this shit. Fuck it. Peter ain't the only person. I'm sitting here believing. I'm in the theater believing, like, oh shit, yeah, she remember. Yeah. Dude about to get his girl back. Nigga, I was wrong. Anyway, so she's just going on and on about what she remember about Peter and everything. They even did the old, paid homage to the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire and I forgot Shorty name. The first MJ with the whole, Spider-Man, the mask over the, right at the nose, and, they kissed, but he wasn't upside down. That was a sellout. But anyway, Peter thinking that MJ remembers him. So they kissing or whatever. And then here comes that damn Jean. Was like, hold on to her, Peter. What was it like? How does it feel to kiss her? Or something like that, Peter. And you sitting there like, motherfucker. My heart was broke. And I do Peter Parker. I don't even know this broad MJ. But I was saying, like, damn, that's who sat in that writer's room and said, yo, let's do some cold shit. Like, that's the coldest shit y'all could have done. Besides giving her the Gwen, the Gwen Stacy treatment. Besides giving her the Gwen Stacy treatment, this was the next coldest thing you could have done. Have Peter thinking that his girl remembers him, only to realize that they done put a fast one on this motherfucker. Yo, I felt so bad, yo. When they can say it messed me up with that one, although I was kind of thinking is that Jean, but not. See, how does everybody? I consider myself sometimes to be pretty smart, and I saw in groups, right? And Nikki said they were wrong for that one. I saw in groups where Cass was like, yo, I knew it was her because she wasn't screaming when they were swinging. Let me tell you about misdirection. I was so geeked that, they were swinging together that I just totally missed all the other shit that she was not, MJ is normally, she's normally screaming. The misdirection that they gave me totally had me blind. I just lost it. I just really lost it. So when it was revealed that it was Jean, like I said, I keep saying it, son, my heart broke. My shit sunk. I was done. And then Jean did probably one of the illest shits ever. She was like, yo, what you gonna do? Like, Jean just threw this poor little girl off the fucking roof. Like, yo, you gotta be a sick individual. I mean, but she knew that Spider-Man was gonna save her, but at the same time, when she jumped off the roof, she was still in Jean form. So it was like, yo, if I'm saving her, am I saving Jean? I'm like, it was just so fucked up. But you know, Spider-Man being Spider-Man, he made a decision because he was not going to let his girl get Gwen Stacy. I'm sorry, y'all. For any Amazing Spider-Man fans, I keep saying Gwen Stacy. I know that's probably hurting y'all and shit. I apologize. I truly do apologize, but yeah, she was about to get Gwen Stacy. So Spider-Man saves her. You know what I'm saying? Because you saw MJ when she was falling, she still was Jean, well, in that form. But as she started falling, you know, Jean left that body, and then the real, you know, then the real MJ emerged. And once again, it was cold. Then after that, you know, they went to Frank's crib and shit. And that's when shit got really weird. She found the letter. Remember the letter that Peter wrote in No Way Home that he was gonna give to MJ 4 years ago, but he never gave it to her. Anyway, MJ finds the letter and shit, and she reads the letter and she confronts Peter about it. Then the other heartbreaking scene when she was like, you know, he was like, yo, I love you. And she was, I mean, and what gets me is that you go on the internet and you find these clips. It's like sound bites. Like they clipped off some of the scene to make it seem like she just told Peter straight flat out, yo, I don't love you. That's really not what happened. She's like, yo, you know, all these memories you have of me, I don't really have them of you. And I don't love you. She did say it, but not in a sense that they're making it out to be. Like, yo, like he just rolled up on MJ and just like, you know what, nigga, I don't love you no more. That's not how that shit went. But, you know, I get it. You know, it's your fans and, you know, it's your discussion, which the reason why I'm having this damn podcast right now. But that was one cold ass scene. But you saw they bond without them being close anymore. You still saw, you know, they still had a connection, you know, while they was in the tanker with Frank. So, you know, that was great to see. But at that time, that still was not MJ. I mean, it was MJ, but it, you know, she don't remember Peter like that. But that scene right there with Jean, that was probably one of the hardest damn scenes that I've seen in the MCU for a while, yo. When she just took over that woman's body, had Peter. And I would say me, I don't know what the hell y'all was looking at, but I ain't gonna lie. That shit had me fooled. Plain and simple. I was like, yo, shorty back, boom. They about to whatever. Yeah, that shit got me. This shit just threw her ass off the roof. That was gangster as hell. Yo, Jean has no respect for nobody at that point though. But that that was a hard scene. The whole MJ, you know, the whole MJ and Spider-Man, you know, thing going on for the past 3 movies, and then this movie, you know, that was, that was dope in itself, yo. I love that right there. All right. I mentioned Jean had a second part for me that I thought was that I loved about the movie. Now the debate is, and I'm still saying the debate to this day, I don't care. This is my hill, and I'm going to stand on my hill with this. All right. So right here. This is the end of the movie. I'm gonna tell y'all what happened later on. This was the end of the movie right here. Right. So we got this when Peter snuck out the hospital, and Frank is now in the window with the Spider-Man mask on, acting a damn fool because, you know, he wants everybody to think that Spider-Man is still in the hospital when in actuality Spider-Man Peter Parker is really out in the crowd. But everybody is cheering, seeing Spider-Man in the window. Everybody's cheering, except for this little kid right here. Except for this little kid. This little kid sees Peter. I said sees Peter. Sees Peter. He turns around and gives him, you know, the Spider-Man. Oh, y'all can't see me. Oh, shit, I'm bugging the plug up. It gives him the Spider-Man thing with the wrist, like he's shooting the web. So Cass is like, oh, this is so-and-so. That this is just a kid who just happened. Like I'm like, all right, first of all, this is the MCU. Shit just don't happen. My theory, this is just my theory. Jean at this time is powerful. She's way more powerful than she was in the beginning of the movie and in the middle of the movie. Jean is powerful as hell right now. So that 33 feet shit does not exist anymore. Jean has the power now to control shit from a distance. Once again, like I said, this is my theory. Now we see a picture. We see a image of Jean on a bus. She's on her way to upstate New York to go to, I guess, Xavier School for the Gifted. So but she's on a bus right now, riding on the bus. This is what I think happened. I think after Peter got out the hospital, Jean used this little boy right here. It's pretty much like a, hey, what's up? I see you okay. Like I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thanks for everything. That's what I took this as, because this is the only kid who locked eyes with Spider-Man. And then he did, the Spidey thing. And then he turned right back around and went about his business. And all we saw was Jean on the bus. I think that was Jean letting Spider-Man know that, she sees him and that, she's glad that he's okay. That's just my theory. Everybody else has their own theory, but that's what I think happened. That's why I love this scene so much, because, at the end of the day, Spider-Man did take a bullet for Jean, which brings us to another awesome part of the movie. When you realize how powerful and dope Jean is. Spider-Man was shot up. I mean, not shot up, not like he got sprayed up like this motherfucking menace to society or some sort of Boys in the Hood. But he was shot. And I won't say he was dying, but he was, pretty fucked up. Like it was the ICU. This one, supposedly Frank was crying. Well, according to Nikki, Frank was crying. This one, Frank was crying. But before that, Spider-Man was, he was breathing. Come to find out, he wasn't breathing on his own. Fucking Jean was breathing for him. That's how powerful Jean became by the end of the movie. You saw her sitting on a park bench, and she was just, I'm saying, like, what the fuck is she praying? The whole time she was breathing for Peter while Peter was laid up with the mask on in the hospital. I thought that was so dope, yo. And then that's when we get the scene right here with the little kid. So in the end, all the fucked up things she did, Peter took the bullet for her, and she repaid him in a way, in the way that friends can. Also remember that she can get into anybody's mind in their head, but she could not get into Peter's head. Peter just kept, rejecting her out of his head. And the one time he did let her in, he let Jean talk to Aunt May. And Aunt May pretty much, pretty much calm Jean down, because Jean's whole thing was, as we saw early on, was about her parents disowning her and her sister. So now you have an older person talking to you about about love and about taking care of other people and things of that nature. So that calmed Jean down some. And then Peter came into the scene as well, and she was just like, yo, I got nobody left. And Peter was like, yo, you got me. And that was a dope moment right there. So that's why I think this little kid part right here is so important. That's just Jean's way of saying, thank you for everything. And once again, for the comic people and then the cartoon people, you also know that Spider-Man was also a big part, not a big part, but he was major in X-Men. Like Spider-Man, like if there's one hero that's cool with everybody, that's him. Spider-Man is cool with everybody. He had done the X-Men War Room and all that shit. Like Spider-Man was cool with everybody. But I love the way that they're setting it up in the MCU, that like Jean was the foundation of their friendship with the X-Men. So I'm glad to see how far that would go, because we know that we know Dr. Doom is coming eventually. We know that he's on his way. We know that everybody's going to fight Dr. Doom. Now, nobody really knows the X-Men or the Fantastic Four of that nature, but we do know that Peter does know Jean. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully by then everybody can remember Peter and shit, that he's a member of the Avengers or whatever. But for that part, Peter does know Jean. So there is some kind of, he's your friendly neighborhood Spider. I think he's stupid. But the fact that they already know each other, that's dope. That's dope as is already. So there's already a connection right there. And I mean, unless you're Logan, okay, which is Wolverine, well, actually, no, even for Wolverine, that goes away. Even though Cyclops is the quote-unquote official leader of the X-Men, motherfucker, don't nobody move unless Jean say they move, B. Like, that's how powerful she is. So if Jean can vouch for Spider-Man, Spider-Man and Wolverine and Jean and Cyclops and Storm all in this, bruh. I love what the MCU is doing. I love how they're moving forward. I love how they are attacking these relationships that we have watched or read about when we were younger. So I love the direction that they are, that they are going in. I mean, no matter what, I still would love to see a damn Spider-Man and Wolverine hook up. Yeah, no doubt about that. But the Jean part of the movie was dope. I was very surprised to see Jean Grey as, I guess, I don't know, the so-called villain. In here I thought it might have been like some other Spider-Man villain. Did see Tombstone, we saw Scorpion, but have Jean do that, and then as another introduction into mutants, into the X-Men, into the MCU. I thought that was fires, especially with Doomsday on the way later on this year. So that was a great introduction for the X-Men. Which was Jean. Other than that, man, like, once again, I had other stuff going down with the guests. So now, I guess not to end the show, but the most important thing. Oh, let me take little Spider-Man and his best friend down for a minute. All right. Now, the main topic going on now is, did Ned remember Peter at the end of the movie? Everybody saw what happened with their handshake at the end. That Ned knew the handshake. All right. Of course, I have my own theory about that as well. I don't have to, we don't have to agree, because I'm pretty sure people walked away with their own damn theory. The handshake. All right, this is my thoughts on the handshake. We've been watching them do this handshake for 3 movies now, and every time you see them do the handshake, it's in normal speed. It's like boom, 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 and you know what I'm saying? This time it wasn't. It was done slow. It was done slow deliberately. For one, it's like Ned was mirroring everything. Like, Ned remembers the handshake. I don't think he remembers who he done it with, but he remembers the handshake. So it wasn't that hard off to be like, oh my God, look at that. He remembers Peter. He remembers the handshake. You don't have to remember Peter to remember a handshake. Oh, but if he forgot about Peter, like he never existed, then how could he do it? Well, maybe Ned done a handshake with somebody else. Like, once again, we don't know that part. That part of the story is left out. It said Peter Parker does not exist, but we know Peter Parker was born, so we can't say that people don't. Yeah, I'm saying, it's not like he's a. Yeah, I'm saying he was a bum on the street. So Ned knows the handshake. He might have done a handshake with somebody else. Who knows? But the fact that he knows it, and we all know Peter knows the handshake. But then what happens is that at the end of the handshake, he says Peter. Like, oh shit, like Ned remembers. And then what's so cold about it is that's how they cut the fucking movie off. Like, yo, like, bruh, you talking about leaving somebody on a cliffhanger? Like, this is not season 8 of fucking The Shy or something like that. Like, that was a major cliffhanger. Like, hey, Peter. And then they, you know what I'm saying, on some Soprano shit, like, it just went black. Like, damn, bro, like, that's what we doing? Like, that's how people leave the damn movie like that? But all right. So my take on that whole scene was this. Let's go back to the part where they was all in the apartment together. Peter sitting, I don't know, I forgot what they was playing, whatever. But Peter sitting there with a damn mask on the whole time, which was funny as hell. But MJ, she knew who he was. Remember, he did end up telling her the truth while she was on the tank, so she knew who he was. And remember, by the drawing, so she knew, that this Peter person is also Spider-Man. Even if she remembers Spider-Man, Peter or not, she remembered that, he did tell her. So she has that recollection of it, and she drew a picture of them. But Ned does not remember. Now, at that point, Peter leaves, like he jumps out the window. And MJ says, I think it was like, be safe, Peter, or some shit like that. But she said his name. And Ned replies, Spider-Man, I say Peter, oh my, what the fuck? He says Spider-Man's name is Peter. So now he knows, remember, he's been looking for Spider-Man the whole movie, tracking him, you know what I'm saying? So Now he knows Spider-Man's real name because MJ said it was Peter. Now let's go to the coffee shop. Peter and Ned is in the coffee shop. Peter, Ned is already there by himself. So Peter walks in. Then Peter's about to walk off. Then he says, you know what? He turns around and then he introduces himself as Peter. Ned now, after the handshake, that's what I think that Peter was for. Ned put 2 and 2 together, like, oh shit. MJ said Spider-Man's name was Peter. Now this cat is introducing himself to me as Peter. So, in a sense, maybe Ned put it together, not that it's the Peter that he knows, but maybe he put it together that Spider-Man is Peter. So the Peter that we just met in my apartment, that's the Peter. That's what I'm thinking happened. Why we can sit here and say, oh, maybe the spell was lifted, but why would it be lifted? How would it be lifted? Are we calling Doctor Strange some kind of weak sorcerer or something that his spell could be lifted over a fucking handshake? Really? That's what we're doing? Nah, I don't know Doctor Strange to be that weak where a handshake can break his fucking spell. Only thing that makes sense to me is that Ned put 2 and 2 together when MJ said the name Peter, and then when dude introduced himself, he introduced himself as Peter, and Ned is like, oh shit, he does know my handshake. And MJ, he was in my crib. Remember he was in his crib earlier before as well, not as Spider-Man, but as Peter when he walked in and he saw all the Spider-Man shit on the wall. So Ned remembers the face. Now he has a name to go with the Spider-Man name. The question is, they're going to have to build on that more because there's no way that a handshake can break a Doctor Strange spell like that. I fail to believe that. Doctor Strange, he be fucking up some shit, but not like that. So what you're telling me is that a handshake, okay. So we're gonna sound real, the Notebook, romance type shit right now. So you're trying to tell me that a handshake is more powerful than the kiss of your soulmate or whatever? So you're trying to say MJ kissing Peter shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, is not more powerful than a handshake with your dude? Nah, bro. In any motherfucking Hollywood movie, that shit just don't exist. Like, come on now, bro. You know what I'm saying? Ask what's that, Sleeping Beauty or some shit. Like, yo, bro, that, you know what I'm saying, that does not exist in no kind of Hollywood film setting at all. That some handshake is more powerful than kissing, you know what I'm saying, your love. So that shit. But yeah, like I was saying, I think that's what it was, yo. I think that Ned just put 2 and 2 together that the name Peter and Spider-Man are one in his eyes. He think he just met Spider-Man. That's why he's like, oh, Peter, and then the screen went black. So at least we know, for one, we get another Spider-Man movie, because I know damn well they can't end the fucking franchise on that type of shit. You think we was mad at Sopranos for going black screen? I'd be pissed as hell at MCU for doing some shit like that. But that's what I took from it. And since that's like one of my last topics, I'm going to end the show with another rant or whatever you want to call it. I'm kind of tired of the Peter, MJ, and Ned thing. At some point, I hope they do it. I hope they do make Ned the Green Goblin or somebody. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because, dating back to the jokes from the other movie, where, his best friend tried to kill Toby. But the movie was dope for me because they all wasn't together, with their little, at that time, high school antics and shit, the high school joke. Like, they're grown now. Like, they're pretty much about to graduate college. So we moved past that. And I think for me, a good part of the movie was actually, honestly, was seeing like a grown-up Zendaya. She was, this version that we saw of MJ was different than any other version that we saw in any other movies. Like, she looked like a true adult in this movie. And so did Peter. Ned had his little beard and shit. That was a little weird. But you sort of, you saw them grown. So at the same time, I really do believe that it is time for them to move on from that trio. I mean, maybe a little in appearance here and there, but at the same time, Peter does have to evolve and, I guess meet the real MJ. Because we all know that's not her name is not even Mary Jane, but I guess MCU tricked us. But but everybody, like people now wanted him to find a way to make a connection with Jean. Nah, bro, Cyclops will fuck Spider-Man up. But no connection with Jean. But there has to be another female, that Spider-Man can connect with, but that holds it like at the same time, let them forever forget Peter. I know it sucks to say, but we are going on movie 5 right now. It is I really do think it is time for them to move on from that trio. They are grown in the sense, or maybe they can't remember and decide to go about their business, but Peter, he's different now. His powers are enhanced now, and for one, like you talking about niggas taking road trips and leaving their girl, like my man been out of space on shorty, like ain't no cell reception up there, like what I'm saying, like you can't even call this girl from space, like yo, hold on, yo, I'm fighting this purple nigga right now, like I can't even text you back, like I holler at you, when we touch down on Earth, like. But even now, at the end of the movie, you saw what happens. Like they searching for Peter, and what I'm saying, he's not on this planet. Like at this point, maybe he's on his way to Battlefield, Battle Earth or whatever. Secret Wars. I don't know if he's going to make Doomsday or not. But in a way, Peter he's off fighting crime. Well, not even fighting crime. This not even crime right here. Peter fighting some other shit. But I really do think it's time for them to move on from the whole Peter, MJ, and Ned trio. Bring somebody else into his life. Let them kids. MJ got a whole nother dude, yo. So I can't remember what movie was it. Wasn't it the first Spider-Man where MJ was about to marry another dude or some shit like that, and Peter had to stop it or whatever. Well, not stop it, but MJ came to her senses or whatever. But I don't want that for this. You know what I'm saying? I want them to just go their own separate ways. It is time for that. But once again, I got to give my hats off to Marvel and Sony. And Sony, they did a great job with this movie. Like I said, by the 4th movie, normally we lose interest. But we haven't. And it's not just their 4th movie, especially for Tom Holland. Like he has been in Civil War, the Endgame, fucking Infinity War. Like he has been around for a while. So the steps that they're taking, man, and adding on more to this Avengers lore, especially with the X-Men coming and Deadpool and things of that nature, it's been a wild ride. Yes, we had some lumps along the way. Eternals, Eternals, She-Hulk. It's been some good and some bad, but right now the future still looks bright. Like I said, Doomsday is coming out at the end of this year, and I know that's going to be monumental. That's going to be something crazy. And then we got Secret Wars coming. Of course, you got the X-Men movie coming. Probably another Fantastic Four movie. I mean, the MCU is still strong. Spider-Man is showing you once again. I think we reached over $1 billion in what, a week? Like, damn, son, that's crazy. I thought people stopped going to the theater. But $1 billion, man, Spider-Man franchise, it's still going strong. In the way that they left the movie off, of course, we're getting another one, and then we're going to still have more of the Ned and MJ story. And another part. Do people think that MJ remembered because they showed the scene where Jean froze everybody, but MJ was crying? That part I don't know. You know what I'm saying? If she remembered Peter, I don't know how. Once again, I still don't know how she would remember Peter. She could be crying for her friend. Remember, her and Peter became friends on the boat, or the tanker. So let's think about that as well. She might not remember the dude like she remembers, but she knows that at some point there was something there because Peter wrote the letter and Peter confirmed it to her. So she knows that something was there. She just doesn't feel it. but that don't mean that she's not oblivious to the fact that something was there. And, she knows that this man loves her. So once again, he's out here fighting this dude. I'm fighting Jean. So maybe she feels that way. Like, I don't know. And, being that they left it that wide open is crazy. But it was done, man. It was done. So all in all, for me, Spider-Man Brand New Day it's still not my favorite Spider-Man because nothing will ever top No Way Home. Nigga, we saw 3 fucking Spider-Mans on the same fucking screen. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, that was fire. Like, I don't care who y'all bring into the next Spider-Man movie. If y'all can't bring in 4 Spider-Mans, I ain't trying to hear it. But we had a Spider-Man movie with 3 Spider-Mans. You're not topping that, B. You're not topping that. Oh, and another thing real quick. Like, I've heard it over and over and over. People don't like this Tom Holland Spider-Man because he never got an origin story. All right, cool. What's his origin story? Like, all Spider-Man's origin stories are the same. He gets bit by a spider. He either lose his, Uncle Ben or whatever. And that's pretty much all of Spider-Man origin story. He gets bit and death. So for Tom Holland Spider-Man, the only thing we didn't see was him getting bit. Like, dude, we seen 18 Spider-Man movies. Do we got to see this motherfucker get bit every fucking movie? We don't need to see him get bit. But we can't say he didn't lose because he lost Aunt May. So in a sense, we still got his origin story, just a different version without him getting bit by the spider. We don't need to see this dude get bit by the goddamn spider. We don't need to see that. Oh, but it happened in the comics. Motherfucker, a lot of shit happened in the comics. You know what I'm saying? You got Black Panther and Storm having babies and shit. Captain America got kids all over the place in the comics. It didn't happen in the MCU. I don't hear y'all complaining about that. But anyway, no, I don't need to see another Spider-Man origin story. I've seen this dude get bit by a spider 3 or 4 times already. Like, I'm cool on that. Losing Aunt May or Uncle Ben, yeah, we still need that because that is the foundation of who Spider-Man is. So that had to happen. And I don't care. Losing Marissa Tomei and Aunt May, okay, that was probably the most crushing Aunt May or Uncle Ben loss ever right there. That shit in No Way Home, that was heartbreaking. Yo, some of y'all writers, y'all need help, y'all. Some social misfits, yo. Anyway, that was jacked up. But back to it. I love the movie, man. It is by far my second favorite one. Like I said, No Way Home is number 1, and it's with all Spider-Man movies. I know, Amazing Spider-Man was dope and all that shit. The Gwen Stacy death was traumatic, but this one was fire. That whole Jean Grey and the whole Punisher and the whole Hulk sequence, like everything about this movie was fire. The humor was still there. The humor was still fresh. We had Punisher telling jokes. Like, we don't get that. Like, we don't get that since Daredevil or his own TV shows. Like, we just did not get the Punisher. You know what I'm saying? We didn't know Punisher had a sense of humor. You know what I'm saying? So that was just fire to see. That movie was well done. Well deserved. Any accolades that it's getting right now. Can't wait, man, to the future. Can't wait to see what's next. So, with that said, like I said, today was a solo day. Tomorrow, me and Joe are back on it on the People's Court at I think same time, 6:30. We're gonna do the best songs of the best R&B songs of the 2000s. If I'm not mistaken, I think Precious will be back with us as well. So we'll be a 3-man crew. That's tomorrow, 6:30, back here, teammbsmedia.com. I'm Mark. I'm also hungry. So at the end of the show, I will be going to go cook my dinner because I am starving. You know what I'm saying? But with that said, man, I hope y'all love Spider-Man as much as I did, yo. See y'all again next week, yo. Peace.